In the shadow of Costco's towering pallets and bargain bin pricing lies one of the most surprising stories in the spirits world. A private label liquor lineup that ranges from genuinely impressive to genuinely regrettable. Most shoppers don't realize it. But behind those simple Kirkland signature labels are real distilleries, the same places that produce award-winning bourbons, respected scotch whiskeys, and even tequila made with century-old methods. Sometimes these partnerships produce bottles that outperform name brands at half the price. And sometimes, well, let's just say age statements, sherry casks, and French distilling traditions can't save everything. What makes the stakes even higher? Liquor is one of the most carefully regulated and meticulously crafted products on the planet. Tequila requires agave that takes years to mature. Scotch must age a minimum of 3. Bourbon mash bills are like family recipes, protected, perfected, and not easily imitated. So, when a budget bottle does manage to go toe-to-toe with premium brands, that's a story worth paying attention to. Today we're ranking the 6 worst and 6 best Costco liquors, based on expert tastings, production methods, real consumer reviews, and what these spirits actually deliver in the glass. And trust us, some of the secrets we share today are going to change the way you shop forever. Stay with us until the end, because Costco's #1 liquor isn't just good for the price. It's one of the best kept secrets in the entire spirits world. Before we pour out the first ranking, make sure you subscribe to Noshed Food Channel. It's the easiest way to keep your content top shelf. Kicking off our worst of list is Kirkland's signature spiced rum, and for good reason. While spiced rum doesn't have to be expensive to be enjoyable, this one has earned a reputation online for being a little too heavy-handed on the artificial flavors. Aromatically, the rum leans strongly towards cinnamon, though not in the way you would hope for. Many describe the aroma as cinnamon hairspray, a sharp and synthetic scent that overpowers the more subtle spice notes you'd expect from a traditional spiced rum. And the production method may help explain why. Instead of using a natural maceration of whole spices, this rum appears to rely on artificial flavor additives for its profile. After a recent formula change, several reviewers noted new underlying notes of charcoal, tobacco, and burnt wood, which tend to clash with the sweeter vanilla-heavy character of the rum rather than deepen it. The finish is where the experience becomes especially polarizing. It's extremely sweet, with an artificial vanilla flavor that lingers long after the last sip, and not necessarily in a pleasant way. Even when mixed into more complex cocktails, the vanilla flavor tends to dominate, cutting through other ingredients rather than complementing them. At around $20 for a handle, it may seem like a tempting bargain, but for most shoppers, the quality just doesn't quite match the savings. Kirkland's signature silver tequila arrives with the promise of simplicity, a clean blanco at an appealing price. But once you crack the seal, it becomes clear why this one usually lands near the bottom of Costco's liquor rankings. At first sip, the alcohol rises to the forefront, overshadowing the lighter notes beneath. Instead of a crisp, earthy agave flavor, drinkers report a strong, almost overwhelming alcohol punch that makes it difficult to pick up anything else. A number of tasters noted sharp sourness and astringency, with the flavor profile leaning more toward cheap tequila memories than that clean, balanced Blanco character. The aftertaste tends to linger with a bitter edge, and not the subtle mineral finish you'd expect from a well-made silver tequila. Over the years, this tequila has been sourced from several different manufacturers, resulting in changes in quality from batch to batch. Some versions have been criticized for using underripe agave, which naturally leads to a thinner aroma, less flavor, and a harsher overall sip. Others have described it as simply lacking the depth or integrity that makes tequila enjoyable. So while it may work in a big batch cocktail for a party, this isn't the bottle to reach for if you enjoy sipping tequila or exploring agave-forward spirits. At just a few dollars more, many name-brand Blancos deliver a far better experience. Up next is Kirkland Signature's 4-year Irish whiskey, another bottle that looks appealing for the price, but doesn't quite live up to expectations after being poured. The scent opens with a lightly sweet aroma, a hint of citrus, and a touch of vanilla. But that's where it stops. It lacks the warm spice, fruit complexity, and deeper grain character that define higher quality Irish whiskeys. The flavor follows a similar pattern. Reviewers frequently describe it as inoffensive but bland, with a thin, muted profile that feels underdeveloped. Sippers on sites like Chowhound and Distiller mention occasional harsh notes that edge into jet fuel territory, and a bitter finish that becomes more noticeable the longer you sip. The mouthfeel reflects the short aging period. At only 4 years, the whiskey hasn't had enough time in the barrel to gain body or depth. It stays noticeably thin, even though the texture itself is smooth enough. Many reviewers felt that it needed several more years of maturation to round out the sharper edges and develop the richer flavors associated with well-balanced Irish whiskey. As a budget buy, it's certainly drinkable, and it works well enough if you're mixing it into coffee or cocktails, where the subtler notes aren't the focus. But for anyone who enjoys sipping Irish whiskey neat or on the rocks, this particular bottle doesn't offer the structure or complexity to stand beside more established brands, many of which are only a few dollars more. At number 9, we have Kirkland Signature's Añejo Tequila, a bottle that seems like it should offer a richer, more developed flavor profile. After all, Añejo Tequila is aged for at least a year and typically brings deeper notes of caramel, oak, and cooked agave. But in this case, the flavor leans closer to a hint of additives than authentic aging. In terms of scent, this tequila offers more ethanol than complexity. The roasted agave aroma that defines quality añejo is faint at best, leaving an impression that feels more like flavored alcohol than a traditionally aged spirit. And unfortunately, the taste follows the same pattern. Most describe the first sip as a punch of alcohol, followed quickly by an almost candy-like sweetness on the back end. Some reviewers compared the flavor to cotton candy or artificial vanilla. This tequila is produced using standard autoclave cooking and roller mill extraction, methods that can yield solid results, but combined with additives, tend to create a flatter, sweeter, less distinctive profile. According to tequila reviewers, the bottle contains multiple additives that influence both color and flavor, making it feel more engineered than finely crafted. The finish leaves many drinkers with the impression of tequila-flavored vodka. The sweetness lingers, but the complexity does not, and some reviewers note that the experience catches up with you the next day, not because of the alcohol content, but because of the combination of sugar, additives, and coloring. For around $25, you can get a 60 of Kirkland Signature London Dry Gin, which is certainly appealing if you're stocking up for basic mixed drinks. But once you start using it in more spirit-forward cocktails, its limitations become clear. The gin itself is easy enough to drink, but it doesn't offer the complexity most people look for in a London Dry. It's missing the bright citrus oils, floral lift, and layered botanicals that help the category stand out. Because of that, it tends to fall flat in martinis, where the gin really needs to carry the drink on its own. In a simple gin and tonic, it works fine, but it doesn't add anything special. When you compare it to the competition, the value becomes a bit less impressive. For just a few dollars more, bottles like Tanqueray, Boodles, or Hendrick's deliver far more character and a noticeably more balanced botanical profile. Those options give you the complexity you need for Negronis, martinis, or any cocktail where the gin is front and center. So, while Kirkland's London Dry Gin is perfectly serviceable for casual mixing, it isn't one of Costco's standout liquor buys. If you enjoy gin-forward drinks or want more nuance in the glass, spending a little extra gets you a much better experience. Closing off our worst of list is Kirkland Signature's 24-year age blended Scotch whiskey. On the shelf, it looks like the kind of bottle you'd feel proud to pick out. An age statement blend, better reputation, around $70 for the 750 milliliters. But that promise starts to fall apart from the moment you crack the seal. Instead of that old oak dried fruit, complex interplay of cask and spirit, many reviews repeatedly call out a shallow aroma. One tasting review described it as having a lot less depth, primarily oaky, but in a very dry, dusty, woody kind of way. Flavor-wise, there are hints of vanilla, green apple, roast peach, and tobacco. But the overall impression is one of underwhelm. The profile is described as weak and not particularly complex for something with a 24-year age statement. Similarly, the mouthfeel doesn't deliver what you'd expect from something aged 24 years. Its body is described as rather thin and lacking the weight or richness you might hope for. From a production and ingredients standpoint, an age statement like 24 years sets a high bar. Many whiskey lovers will pay extra, expecting nuanced maturation in quality casks, balanced integration of malt and grain whiskeys. If that integration or depth is missing, the age statement becomes more badge than benefit. Coming in next, and starting off our best of list, is Kirkland Signature's Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey, one of the store brand bottles that consistently earns praise from whiskey fans, especially considering its price point. Made by Tennessee Distilling Limited, this 4-year whiskey follows the traditional Lincoln County process, meaning it's charcoal mellowed before aging, a key step that gives Tennessee whiskey its smooth, recognizable character. This bottle opens with a friendly scent of caramel, leather, walnuts, and a touch of maple. Nothing overpowering, but pleasantly warm and inviting. Once you take a sip, the sweetness comes through clearly, and reviewers describe the palate as candied and mellow, with notes of caramel, stone fruit, melon, vanilla, and cinnamon. There's a gentle pepperiness that settles on your tongue, followed by toasted oak and light char from the barrel. Stylistically, it falls right between Jack Daniel's and George Dickel, drier than Jack, sweeter than Dickel, and with just a bit more body than you might expect at this price. The finish brings a combination of oak and mellow heat that fades with medium dryness. It isn't overly complex, but it's balanced enough for sipping and flavorful enough to stand out in cocktails. What really sets this bottle apart is the value. Prices vary depending on the region, but in most areas you can find it for between $19 and $37 for a large 1.75. Compared to a similarly sized bottle of Jack Daniel's, which can cost significantly more, this sour mash whiskey delivers impressive quality for the price. For anyone who enjoys classic Tennessee whiskey and highballs, old fashions, or simply over ice, this Kirkland bottle is one of the smarter buys at Costco's liquor aisle. Sliding in at number 5 is Kirkland Signature's Bottled in Bond Bourbon, produced by Barton 1792 Distillery. A respected Kentucky operation known for its high-quality bourbon, this bottle meets all the strict federal requirements of the Bottled in Bond Act. That means it's made in a single season, at a single distillery, aged at least 4 years, and bottled at a solid 100 proof. For bourbon fans, that alone puts it in a category of its own. The aroma is inviting, with clear notes of caramel, vanilla, almond, and oak rising from the glass. It has the classic warmth you expect from a well-made Kentucky bourbon, and reviewers highlight a rich honey note that stands out right away, balanced by caramel sweetness, a touch of cinnamon spice, and just enough oak to keep everything grounded. The body is full and warm, with a satisfying weight that makes it feel more expensive than it is. One of the biggest advantages here is, again, the value. The bottle typically sells for around $25 per liter, which is impressive for a bonded bourbon made by a well-known distillery. If you're looking to keep a versatile bourbon on hand for sipping, mixing, or sharing, this is one of the best bargains on Costco's shelves. Kirkland Signature Small Batch Bourbon is another strong entry in Costco's lineup, and it too is connected to Barton 1792 Master Distillers, a highly respected name in Kentucky bourbon. Unlike many Kirkland bottles that keep their origins quiet, this one is clearly labeled, which adds a welcome level of transparency. The mash bill comes in at 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% barley, and it's bottled at 46% ABV, giving it a bit more presence and structure than your average budget bourbon. The aroma makes a memorable first impression. Reviewers describe it as cherry forward, almost like warm cherry pie filling. There's very little burn on the nose, making it approachable even before the first sip. Once you taste it, the spice notes move to the forefront. There's a mix of cinnamon imperials, baking spices, and a touch of cayenne pepper, rounded out by roasted caramel, dried apricot, and cherry, and a gentle sweep of oak. On the palate, everything comes together even more smoothly when served over ice, which helps harmonize the sweetness and spice. There are also interesting layers beneath the surface, hints of fennel, licorice, dried pineapple, cocoa powder, and a subtle dried nuttiness that gives the bourbon a bit more complexity than you'd expect at this price. The finish is well balanced, with lingering cinnamon spice and softer notes reminiscent of saltwater vanilla taffy and peanut brittle. Value is where this bottle truly shines. At around $20 for a 1-liter bottle, it's significantly less expensive than Barton's own 1792 small batch, which typically runs $25 to $30 for just 750 milliliters. With that kind of price difference and this level of quality, it's easy to see why many bourbon fans consider it one of the best deals in Costco's spirits section. For anyone looking for an affordable, reliable bourbon that works well both neat and in cocktails, Kirkland's Small Batch Bourbon is an easy bottle to recommend. Claiming its spot at number 3 on our best of list is Kirkland Signature's Blended Canadian Whiskey, one of the most consistently praised bottles in Costco's lineup. Aged 6 years in charred white oak barrels and imported by Sazerac, despite long-standing rumors that it is crafted by the same distillery as Crown Royal, this whiskey has earned a very solid reputation for delivering impressive value. When you first open the bottle, you can smell a mix of butterscotch and earthy walnut, supported by cinnamon, baking spices, and a gentle touch of vanilla. It's an inviting aroma profile that sets the stage for a familiar Canadian whiskey experience. Once you take a sip, the sweetness takes the lead. Reviewers describe flavors of cinnamon, coffee, caramel, and vanilla, with a spicy kick and a smoky sweet edge that carries hints of clove. It's easy drinking, smooth, and pleasantly warm, with a finish that stays smooth rather than sharp. In blind taste tests, many drinkers found the flavor so similar to Crown Royal that they couldn't tell which bottle was which. The mouthfeel is slightly thinner than the name brand version, but still smooth enough that the difference is minor, especially given the price point. For fans of Canadian whiskey, whether you prefer it neat, with a splash of soda, or in a simple highball, this bottle is an easy recommendation and one of the best bargains Costco has to offer. Kirkland Signature's Speyside Single Malt Scotch is one of the most impressive values in Costco's liquor lineup. Bottled by Alexander Murray and Company and sourced from an unnamed Speyside distillery, this expression typically ranges between 18 and 20 years old. For a bottle with that kind of age statement, the price point alone is remarkable. Aromatically, the whiskey presents a classic sherry-rich profile: jammy figs, dried cherries, dark chocolate, hazelnuts, and even a touch of rich balsamic. It's a decadent, full aroma that feels immediately inviting. There's also fresh fig, black cherry, and warm butterscotch, all balanced with incredible finesse. The palate follows through beautifully, opening with nutty and malty notes, then moves into moderate honey, apricot, vanilla, buttercream, and soft oak. The sherry influence is unmistakable, delivering a big, lush character both on the nose and in the glass. Despite all that flavor, the burn is surprisingly gentle for a whiskey of this age, and the body shows a rounded, almost velvety texture that adds a sense of depth which more expensive Speyside bottles strive for. Typically priced between $33 and $38, it offers an age statement and flavor profile that would more commonly be found in a $60 bottle or higher. The 19-year version has developed something of a cult following online, with many reviewers calling it absolutely amazing for the price. For anyone who enjoys sherry-finished Speyside whiskey, or simply wants a mature single malt without the premium markup, this Kirkland bottle remains one of the best bargains in the Scotch aisle. Kirkland's signature French vodka is widely considered the crown jewel of Costco's spirits lineup, and it's easy to understand why. Made from French grain and distilled 5 times at the Guyant Distillery in Douai, this vodka has earned a reputation for delivering premium quality at a surprisingly accessible price. It opens with a crisp, delicately sweet aroma that feels smooth, refined, and unmistakably clean. Once you take a sip, the texture stands out immediately. The body is silky and smooth, with a consistency more comparable to a light, white wine than a typical inexpensive vodka. It's clean, crisp, and gentle on the palate, making it enjoyable whether you drink it neat, over ice, or in a dry martini. Its reputation extends beyond Costco shoppers. In a blind tasting panel conducted by Wirecutter, Kirkland's French vodka was unanimously ranked as the #1 pick, scoring higher than several well-known premium brands. Other blind tests have echoed the same result, with reviewers consistently placing it above Grey Goose. At around $19 to $20 for a handle, it costs less than half the price of the same size Grey Goose, which often sells for $43 to $45. That's roughly a 55% savings for a vodka that many tasters find cleaner, smoother, and more enjoyable. Because of its combination of quality, price, and consistency, many experts and reviewers call it the hands-down favorite among all Kirkland spirits. For anyone looking to stock a versatile, premium-tasting vodka without paying a premium price, this bottle remains one of the smartest buys on Costco's shelves. And there you have it, Costco's best and worst liquors revealed. From bargain bottles that punch far above their price to a few that are better left on the shelf, Costco's lineup proves that great spirits don't always need a premium label. If you've tried any of these yourself, let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you discovered a new favorite today, even better. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the foods and drinks you love most. See you next time.